Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We're doing a post-debate analysis today, looking at the debate I had with a very interesting feminist. A feminist who is very open, loud, and proud about being on OnlyFans and being independent. She need no man, as she kept emphasizing in our debate. So this is what we want to analyze today, and it was a very interesting and surprising debate. Certain things I did not expect for her to admit, as we discussed. So I'm going to go through certain parts of the debate. We're going to watch it, and I'll give my reaction to that. And then I'll also give you some broader context to why this debate is significant or important. Because some people think that, well, this is a waste of time. Like, this is a comment I get on all of the debates is, why are you wasting time debating this? We don't need a debate for this topic. And that's what people say about every single debate. So it's people who don't really like debates, I guess. But the purpose of debating this topic in particular is that you have a lot of Muslims who are confused about the idea of male guardianship in Islam. Why do we need male guardians? And it's a source of shubuhat. It's a source of doubts. It's a source of, doubts about Islam. So Islam says that men are the authorities over women. This is what it says in Surah An-Nisa. Al-Rijalu qawwamuna 'ala an-nisa. And that authority comes with certain specific rules. Women, for example, are not allowed to get married without their guardian's permission. The guardian, which is usually the father, or if the father is not alive, then the grandfather, the paternal grandfather, or the paternal uncle. There has to be a man involved as a guardian for women to get married. Women are not allowed to travel without a mahram, a male mahram, as a guardian. Women have to keep themselves chaste and modest in their husband's home, in their father's home. They can't go and mix with men just on the basis of what they choose, what they want. No, their freedom to go and mix with other men, to socialize with other men, that is restricted. They are not allowed to do that. They can only socialize with their male family members and their mahrams. So this is a restriction, and the male guardian is the one who has the authority to restrict his daughter or his wife or his sister, his biological sister. These are all the rights that the male guardian has, and these are the duties that women have. They have the duty to obey their male guardians. Now, that doesn't mean that women don't have their own set of rights and men have a set of duties, because being a guardian is also a duty. You have responsibilities as a man to be a guardian of your women folk. So this is, Islam has many rules. I just mentioned some of the more important or prominent ones on why or the guardianship of men over women. This is something that has been legislated by Allah in the Quran, in the Sunnah, and all of the Islamic schools. This is something that actually is intersectarian across sects and madhahib and manahij. Everyone has agreed that men are the guardians over women, and women have a duty to obey their guardians. This is what Islam is. Now, feminism comes along. You have a feminist movement. You have post-Enlightenment. The Enlightenment happens in the 17th and 18th centuries and continues to spread throughout the world. Eventually is spread to the Muslim world through colonialism. All of the religions of the world that have had the same system, the same general system of men being guardians over women, whether it's in Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, all of these religions have guardianship, male guardianship rules. But liberalism comes to change that. Liberalism comes and says, well, this is irrational. Men and women are human beings, and we shouldn't distinguish between men and women. Men and women are equal. Men and women are equal in every capacity, in every respect. And if you give one sex a authority over the other, this violates equality. Equality is a foundational principle of our Western, liberal, enlightened, scientific civilization. Anything that a man can do, a woman can do as well. And therefore, it's irrational to give men authority over women. If there's going to be authority, women should be able to share in that authority. So that is the gender equality standard that was imposed by liberalism. And all of these religions started to reform. They started to change their rules on guardianship. They abolished them, basically. And this has been a huge disaster because it leads to the dissolving of marriage. It leads to the dissolving of family. And it leads to the atomization of society that has really been a disaster for the human race. That's, in a nutshell, the story of feminism, liberalism, and the attack on male guardianship. Now, Muslims have also been a victim of this, and unfortunately, you have Muslims who are adopting the liberal assumptions on gender equality. They are accepting it hook, line, and sinker. And they, in terms of their intuitions, their deepest intuitions, you have Muslims who are feminist. Even though they might be going to the masjid, even though they might be wearing hijab, even though they might be eating only halal food, halal meat, even though they might be, abiding by all of these other rituals in Islam, but they are internally, they're feminists. Internally, they believe in gender equality, and they are not abiding by gender equality. How many, and this is very prominent in the United States, and the West in general, how many times do you see female family members who get married or male family members who get married and their conception of husband and wife are equal partners? Equal partners, and there is no guardian in that relationship. In fact, they find it offensive. If you say that, well, you need to obey your husband, you need to submit to your husband, he is the leader, you're the follower. They are extremely offended by this this claim. This is not Islam. Islam is feminism. Islam is gender equality. They might not put it exactly in those terms because now feminism has become a taboo concept or a taboo terminology, but this underlying idea, the central idea, is the same. We are partners, husband and wife. We're partners, equal in authority. He can't tell me what to do. And as we know, usually in those kinds of marriages, we know who wears the pants, so to speak. It's the wife. She's the boss. If anything, she's the guardian of him. And those marriages don't tend to last very long. They end up in divorce, not because the man realizes that he's basically a doormat. They end because the wife, the boss, she gets tired of being the boss and she feels like, I'm just so much better than him. He's such a loser. He's so disgusting that I can just push him around and he can't even stand up for himself. And then they end up getting divorced. That is the state of these marriages. So guardianship is something that is constantly attacked within the Muslim ummah, within the Muslim communities and families that we know. And what ends up happening is you have someone like the Miss Pakistan feminist that I debated last week. So this is what we're going to talk about today. Go ahead and make sure to like the video. Make sure you're subscribed. Leave me your thoughts in the chat. Leave me a super chat. I'm going to be looking at the super chat and reacting to your questions and comments. And hopefully the sound, everything good with the sound. Hope you can hear me just fine. So, what was the basic argument that I gave in this debate? If you wanted to go see it with slides and visuals and everything, you can go to the debate and watch it. But let me just give a quick summary of the main argument. The main argument is that human beings are social animals. Human beings need basically teamwork to survive. Human beings can't really survive individually. Yeah, there could be exceptions to that rule, but there are exceptions that prove the rule. The vast majority of human beings, they couldn't survive without the group. And the group, being in a group, provides a lot of things that humans couldn't get without that group. Being in a group provides you protection. It provides you resources in terms of food, shelter. It provides you the ability to mate, to have a family, to get married and have a family and have children. It provides you with all of these benefits that human beings need to survive. The group is needed. So feminists agree with that. Liberals agree. Yeah, humans need a group. And they also accept the premise that if you have a group, you need to have a leader. You need to have a leader to organize the group, to make plans for the group, to guide the group. Otherwise, it's complete chaos. Otherwise, it's not really a group unless it's an organized collection of human beings following a direction, following a plan. That's what it means to be a group, to be a social animal. And we see this in the animal kingdom. When you have like a pride of lions, for example, or you in the when it comes to the chimpanzees or the great apes, you have a patriarch in those animal groups, and the patriarch is the one that decides how, where is the group going to go. Are we going to migrate? Are we going to stay where we are? Are we going to go into the territory of another group? Are we going to fight with other groups? All of those things are decided by the patriarch, the male animal at the head of that pack or pride or group. So this is found in the animal kingdom for a very obvious reason. That's what's needed for the group to survive. And groups that don't have that type of organization and that type of chain of command, they will die out. That's the basis, the biological basis of a dominance hierarchy. It's a hierarchy. There are levels in terms of the chain of command. Who's in charge? This is something biological. It's not something that human beings just invented. It's not a social construct. It is something biologically rooted, and humans have that same biology, and we form dominance hierarchies. You can even see little children. When they are playing, boys especially, they will get into groups. They'll split up into groups, and each of those groups will have a captain, and those groups compete against each other. Boys are competing all the time, and there's a leader of each group has a leader. If any kind of sport that you play, the kids are playing football, they're playing basketball, there's a team captain. And usually the team captain is the one who is the best at that sport. He's the leader, and then he will lead the team in whatever competition against other groups. This is something natural. Little boys, you don't have to teach them this. You don't have to. It's something that they spontaneously do, even with games that they invent. Boys will invent games so that they can compete against each other, and even in those competitions, they form dominance hierarchies. So this is something that is biologically rooted. It's not a social construct. So that's very important to understand. So a feminist or a liberal will accept that. They'll accept, yeah, we have to have leaders, we have to have a hierarchy. They'll accept it for the state. Governments, you have to have a leader, you have to have a head of state, whether it's the president, the vice president, the president or the prime minister. Then you have legislators who are in authority. They make the laws. You have a judicial system. They are the ones who execute the laws. You have a police force. There is a dominance hierarchy. Feminists accept that for society. Same when it comes to schooling, academia. In academia, you have a university system. At the top of the university system is the board of trustees and the president. And then you have the dean of the university, and so on and so forth. And then any kind of business, any kind of corporation. Similarly, you have a dominance hierarchy. These are things that are required for the business to succeed. You haven't really seen, there's not a single example of a successful business that doesn't have this leadership structure. You haven't seen a single example of a state, of a country that doesn't have a dominance hierarchy. So on all of this, the feminist, the liberal, the atheist, they're all going to be in agreement. They really can't counter-argue this. Okay, so then what about the family? Shouldn't there be a head of the family? Shouldn't there also be someone who is leading the family so that there will be structure for the family can survive and thrive, so that the family can get all the benefits of being a group? And this is where the feminists might disagree. They might say, no, we just want to abolish the family in its entirety. And there have been feminists who have argued this, like Shalamuth Firestone, the Jewish feminist from the 20th century, who has a funny story of dying alone in her apartment, and she had no family. She had no one to realize that she was dead. She was just rotting for weeks by herself in her apartment. She was a hardcore feminist and argued that we do not need family. Family is actually oppression. Marriage is oppression. We don't need the family structure at all. So her fate was to die alone. And other feminists as well that I cited in the debate opening. But there's that type of argument that we don't need family at all. Most people will find that a disgusting argument. Most, even feminists, won't be that extreme. They won't be to that level of saying we don't even need marriage, we don't even need family. So they won't go to that extreme, but they'll say, look, fine, I accept the importance of family. I accept the importance of hierarchy in that family. But tell me, why should it be a man? Why should the man have the authority? Why should the man be in charge? Why can't we have an equal situation? Partnership. Well, if they say partnership, if they say that why can't it be a partnership, well, this is contrary to the initial premise that we had. The initial premise is that there needs to be one person in charge. One person has to be at the head. And that, again, is the case with the state. It's the case with businesses. It's the state with universities. It's the state with any kind of military. You have to have one person at the head of it. Now, that person at the head is still going to consult with his subordinates. He's going to still consult with his dependents. That's what it means to be an effective leader. The effective leader has to understand the needs of his subordinates, and he has to take into consideration their needs, and sometimes he will take into consideration their opinions. That's what it means to be an effective leader. But be that as it may, it's still a leader. It's still one person. So if you start talking about the family being a partnership of two people with equal authority, that doesn't work. Like that is something that, if it did work, if it were effective, you would see it proliferating in all of these other social groups and all of these other hierarchies. It just doesn't exist because that's not the way. That's not effective. That's not effective for the survival of the group. Okay, so then fine. It has to just be one head of household. Well, why can't that head of the household be a woman? Why should it be a man? This is where we end up. This is where it kind of, this is the point that's being made by the feminists, by the liberals, and it needs a response. You have to be able to answer. Well, okay, well, why? Islam says that the head of the household is a man. He's not an equal partner with his wife. And that head of household has to be a man. A woman is not allowed to be the head of a household. So why? In fact, a woman is not allowed to be the head of the ummah, the head of a ummah or nation also. Islam does not allow that. So why? What is the justification? How can we understand this? What is the wisdom? What is the hikmah of this? And this is what I argue in the opening statement. And it's a very simple argument. Men are better suited and are more effective than women in that position. They're more effective as being the guardian, as being the wali. And I give 3 reasons. The effective leader, the effective wali, guardian, has to be able to make plans, execute those plans, and distribute the benefits that come with the proper execution of those plans. 3 reasons. In each of those reasons, men are better than women. And this is something that can be objectively proven and objectively established. And that's what I establish or give evidence for in the debate. And those are just 3 reasons, but there are even more reasons than that. There are even more reasons why you want to have men to be the leaders as opposed to women. There are more reasons. I touch on some of them, but I didn't flesh them fully out because you have a limited opening statement and you can't say everything. So, for example, when you have men as the leaders and women as subordinates, this plays into female hypergamy. And this becomes very, very critical when it comes to marriage, when it comes to preserving a family. Because ultimately, marriage is based on, a huge part of marriage is based on attraction. Attraction between a husband and a wife. And there's ways that you can destroy that attraction, where that attraction is destroyed because of, for example, a woman cheating on her husband. A wife cheats on her husband, and that is going to destroy the attraction that the husband has for his wife. Or, for example, the wife gains 100 pounds. That's going to affect the attraction that the husband has for the wife. Similarly, a wife will lose attraction to her husband if she sees her husband as being weak. If she sees her husband as being dominated by other men, for example. She gets the ick, what's called the ick. And they say, like, you should never cry in front of your wife. You should never cry in front of your wife, even for it's a legitimate reason, like you're reading Quran and it's really affecting you. You have a soft heart, and when you read Quran, you start crying. It's advisable not to do that in front of your wife, because there's a biological reaction that she can have to that. That she gets the ick, like, ugh, like my husband is crying. It's not a conscious thing, it's subconscious. So the husband, okay, if she views herself as being more competent than her husband, she views herself as more intelligent as her husband, she views herself as more upwardly mobile in terms of the social ladder, she feels that she's higher status than he is. That is going to cause her to be less attracted to him. And this is exactly why I tell men that you should not be empowering your wife. You should not be encouraging your wife to go pursue an education and to go get a high-paying job and to climb the corporate ladder, to go into that rat race. You shouldn't be encouraging your wife to do that, because pretty soon she's going to be higher than you. In terms of your job, in terms of your credentials, in terms of your social status, in terms of your earning potential, she's going to be above you. And when that happens, you can be a secure man and you have no problem. I have no problem with my wife, making more money than me and having a higher position than me. I'm perfectly secure as a man. Good for you. Good for you. The problem is she's going to be less attracted to you. She's the one who's going to get the ick. She's the one who's going to think that, why am I married to this loser? Even if she doesn't articulate it consciously, she still feels it. She feels that. And it's something biological. She can't even help. She can't even help but feel it. And even if she tries to bury that emotion, even if she tries to suppress that emotion, it's still there. And that's going to have an obviously negative impact on your marriage. So how could any man, unless he's just self-sabotaging his own marriage, encourage his wife to empower herself, to pursue education, to pursue career advancement? It makes absolutely no sense. So given that biological fact, this hypergamy, this attraction that women have, the whole concept of having a female leader is contrary to that. It's complete gender role reversal for the woman to be in a position of leadership over men. If the woman is a guardian, she herself will not want to be in that marriage for very long. She's going to drop him. She's going to leave him to find a better man, a higher status man, a more dominant man. So those types of marriages where the women are in charge, that women are the guardians or the walis, they don't last. They are inherently unstable. They inherently will break apart. And in terms of attraction that men have, like, it's not just about women. Men also are not attracted to bossy, dominant women. Like, let's be real. It's not attractive. Men are attracted to submissive women. Women who are submissive, they obey. Women who are agreeable. They are there to be your supporter. They're there to be your cheerleader. They're cheering you on. That's what a man is attracted to. And likewise, a woman is attracted to a strong man who leads, who takes charge, who is dominant. As I mentioned, the term that I used in the debate is benevolent chauvinism. If you know what chauvinism means like you're like a man's man. You're a macho type of guy. But you're benevolent, you're kind, you're gentle. But you're still a man. You're still in charge. That's what women are attracted to. And that's why I mentioned this book in the debate, 50 Shades of Grey. So this is basically it's pornography. It's a pornographic book that was a bestseller, for many weeks in the top of the New York Times bestseller list, because women are buying this pornography and reading these stories. And what is this story about? It's about some secretary, some unassuming plain Jane woman. And there is this billionaire, this handsome, tall, dark, handsome billionaire who dresses well, is suave. And he gets into a relationship with this woman. And the defining feature of this relationship is that he dominates her. He ties her up. He whips her. He is just physically violent with her. And she loves every minute of it. She loves every minute of it. Why? Because it's the Chad. It's the strong billionaire Chad who's doing it. So the fact that this kind of smut, like this type of book, is dominating the best-selling charts, and that women love this book, and this is the type of fantasy that they have, that it destroys feminism. Like, it destroys the basic premise and framework of feminism. That such a book would be so popular, and women would be salivating over this type of man who is dominating them, who is physically abusing them, and they love it. They love every minute of it. And that's the nature of women. That's the duality of man and woman. This is the beauty of Allah's creation, that He didn't make men and women the same. He didn't make men and women exactly the same, with the same type of personality, with the same type of behaviors, with the same types of likes and dislikes, the same type of attractions. No. We're very different. We're very different. And that creates complementarity, and it causes attraction. It creates a bond, a strong bond. And feminism destroys that. Feminism, by advocating for women's empowerment, women's domination, women's bossiness, being this boss babe, being this queen, it completely destroys that dynamic. And it results in something ugly. It results in something repulsive. So I didn't give this type of argument. I just touched on it briefly in the debate. But you watch that debate, and a lot of the comments, if you look, even from non-Muslims, you can go see the comments on modern day debate. Like, people are just disgusted and repulsed by the Pakistani lady, OnlyFans prostitute. They're viscerally, like, they have this visceral reaction. And even before, like, the topic of OnlyFans came up in the debate, like, people were just disgusted by the kind of attitude, like the very fact that she's coming to debate a man and she's raising her voice, this shrill voice. She needs to know her place. That's the reaction that a lot of people, even non-Muslims, even some of these atheists on modern day debate, like, that's the kind of reaction that they have. It's a biological reaction. No one likes these uppity women. And it's to the detriment of women themselves when they take on this kind of attitude. They might think that they're doing themselves favors. They're not doing themselves any favor. They're actually making themselves ugly. They're making themselves unattractive. That's why they have so much trouble getting married. So that's another argument that could be made for the gender roles, why men should be in charge of women. It's something biological, and something that is so important to the stability of the marriage, because it's key to attraction. The attraction of the sexes to each other is a big part of it is dominance. A big part of it is the relative status, the hierarchy, the hypergamy. That is something that has to be kept in mind as well. So this is what I argued in a nutshell. And what did she argue? She had her argument, her position was simply that guardianship is unnecessary. Women can be independent. Women don't need men, and guardianship is going to hinder women, is going to hinder their freedom. Therefore, it's superfluous. It's something that should be discarded. It's a relic of a bygone age. That was basically her argument. But it's not, and she had no response to the points that I made. And I pointed this out. I pointed out her hypocrisy. Look, you recognize the importance of a group when it comes to the state, when it comes to businesses, universities, militaries. You understand dominance hierarchy. Why is the family the only exception? She had no response to that. And it became relevant later in the debate because she started talking about parental guardianship. You have to have parents who are the guardians of their children. Said, this is another complete double standard from you. You accept that a parent being a guardian makes complete sense, and you don't consider that to be abusive. You don't consider that to be slavery. But if it's a man over his wife, then suddenly this is slavery. Suddenly this is abuse. How is that consistent? So people might be wondering why this debate is even needed. And let me share you evidence of why it's needed. Remember this. People have been this statement, if you say yes to college for women, you're essentially saying yes to your granddaughter on OnlyFans. The college to OnlyFans societal pipeline is just a mere matter of decades. I said this like a few years ago, and a bunch of atheists, a bunch of Wahhabis, Madkhalis, they like took a screenshot and started sharing it. Oh, look at how ridiculous Daniel is. Look how crazy and unhinged Daniel is. He's saying that if you send your daughters to college, they're eventually going to be on OnlyFans. Daniel is just unhinged, exaggerating every single issue. But I was right. I was 100% right. And, you know, this Pakistani that I debated, she's like 40 years old, around 40 years old. She's a good example. You know, she is the result of women's empowerment in Pakistan. And she's 40. She's in my generation. The younger generations are even more involved. Now, when we say OnlyFans, I'm using a kind of figurative language. OnlyFans, when I say that, what it represents is women using their body, whether sexually or in terms of displaying themselves, their beauty, using that for economic gain. That's what OnlyFans means. So this can take different forms. It can mean, posting yourself online for attention, for the attention capital. And you have all of these female influencers online. Oh, look at her beautiful hijab. Oh, look at her beautiful, colorful scarf. And she made it into a nice little turban. And look, she has all of these followers and all of these Muslim men. Oh, you're so beautiful, sister. Keep representing Islam. Oh, the modesty. And she's like doing her makeup. And that's prostitution. She is using her looks and her beauty for attention. And that's how she becomes an influencer. If she gains a certain number of followers, she starts promoting products, she starts doing advertisements. But even if she doesn't do any commercial advertising, the mere fact that men are paying attention to her, giving her compliments, liking her pictures, she's gaining from that. She's getting dopamine from that. She is gaining pleasure from that. This is OnlyFans. This is OnlyFans by another name. So that already is a huge cancer, a huge problem with our Muslim youth, and you have to be blind not to see it. And we've talked about it many times on the channel. What about serial dating? This is another thing that unfortunately some Muslim women have fallen into. They now engage in essentially dating. Even if it doesn't fall into zina, in many cases it does, or it doesn't lead to zina, in many cases it does, even when they're just, on the presumption or the pretext that, oh, this is for marriage purposes. They go to the cafes, they go to the restaurants. Oh, it's perfectly halal because this is a public environment. So I can go to the cafe, I can go to the restaurant and have dinner. And now this is halal apparently because it's a public place. Yeah, you're getting food. You're getting beverages. And oh, it doesn't work out. To the next guy, to the next guy, to the next guy. They do this for years. They do this for years under the pretext of, oh, I'm trying to find the right match. I'm trying to find the right husband. And they're just, this is another type of prostitution. This is another type. You are using the promise of sex through marriage to gain attention and service from men. What is this other than OnlyFans? OnlyFans has only made it more efficient. Like OnlyFans has just dropped the pretext and just gotten things to the bare bones of it, of the transaction, which is your beauty, your looks, your sexuality for money from men. OnlyFans has just reduced it to its essence, but that essence is found in many of the practices, unfortunately, that are proliferating amongst the Muslim masses. And when you tell a woman to go to college and you're trying to empower a woman, it's going to lead to OnlyFans. It's going to lead to that essence. And if you don't understand the logic of that, I mentioned in the debate, the most valuable asset that women have is what? It's their sexuality. It is their youth, their looks, their beauty, and their chastity. These three things. That's the most valuable asset that a woman has. Look, I mean, that's the fact. I don't know why women should be offended by simple, biological, undeniable facts. I wish that my most valuable asset was my looks. I wish that were the case. It would make life very easy for me. I wouldn't be upset if someone said, Daniel, your most valuable asset is that you're just so good looking. I'd be like, well, that's great. I wish let me make sure that I get the most for my most valuable asset. That's the way that a rational person thinks. This is my most valuable asset. How do I protect it? How do I use it? How do I use it to the best effect so I can get the most for the most valuable asset that I have? That's a logical thing that a person would think who has basic reasoning capabilities. Fortunately, so many women today, because of the influence of feminism, they don't want to accept the biological fact that their most valuable asset is their youth, their beauty, and their chastity, like their virginity. Like that's what, when we say youth and chastity, that's referring to virginity. They don't want to accept this fact. Okay, so you don't want to accept it? That doesn't change anything. The fact that you don't accept it means that you're stupid. You're just stupid. Like if someone had $1 million to their name, they're stupid, they're ugly, they don't have any talent, but they have $1 million to their name. And I say, hey, your most valuable asset is this bank account with $1 million, so you better protect it. And they say, no, what are you talking about? I'm much more than my $1 million. I don't care what you say. And they squander it. Okay, well, that's to your loss because you're stupid. And I feel like some of these women are the same way. Like when you tell them, they're offended. The people who are offended really are the ones who squandered it. The women who squandered their youth and their beauty and their chastity, like the women that I debated, they're the ones that are the most offended because it stings when because it's true. Like when they realize that, okay, I squandered, whether it was through feminist brainwashing or I'm just an idiot, it stings them, so they have to pretend like it's not the case. And that also shows like the selfishness of some of these women. Like, just because you squandered it, stop perpetuating the myth so that future generations are going to follow in your footsteps and make the same mistake. Problem is that these crusty old feminists, misery loves company. That's all it is. So when we tell these women, like, your most valuable asset is your youth, your beauty, your chastity, then you need to protect this so that you can use it to maximum effect to get the most that you can, the most happiness, the most pleasure out of this that you can. They don't accept it. They don't accept it. If they did accept it, you would expect certain behaviors. One of the behaviors that you would accept is that they would get married early. You get married early when your youth is at its peak. Your youth is at its peak. Your chastity is at its peak. Your beauty is at its peak. That's when you have the most basically, if you put it in monetary terms, you have the most cash to play with. You have the most cash in your hand to spend. That's when you have the most money. Then you can buy the best. You can gain the best. Gain the best what? The best husband. The best husband. That is going to be the number one factor in your future happiness, is having the best husband that you can possibly get. So imagine you have a gallery of potential husbands. You have the top of the line model husband. He costs $1 million. You have the next line. He's a little bit lower level, lower grade. He's not the S class. He's the A class model husband. He's not $500,000. He's 750K. After A class, B class, he's a little bit less expensive. C class, D class, F class. Each of them have a price, okay, in descending order. If you want to get the S class or the A class, well, what is the money? What is the currency that you can use to buy the S class, the A class? That's your youth. That's your beauty. That's your chastity. That's the cash. That's the currency for you to get the S class, the A class. And if you wait, you say, no, I don't need to get married. I need to go to college. No, I'm not going to get married in college. I got to go get my master's. No, I'm not going to get married while I'm getting my master's. I'm going to go get my PhD. No, now I have my PhD. I'm wasting it by getting married and starting a family. I need to go to work. I need to establish myself in a career. I need to be independent. Every day, you're going to lose your youth. You're going to lose your beauty. And the risk of you losing your chastity goes higher and higher. We're in a world full of temptations. We're in a world full of zina, unfortunately. So every day that goes by, especially when these women are going to school without a mahram, they're leaving their homes to go to school, or they're going to work and it's a mixed environment. You're surrounded by these guys in a mixed environment. So unfortunately, every day that goes by, you're degrading your most valuable assets. So after a certain point, you're not going to have the cash in hand to get the S-class model husband. More years go by, say goodbye to the A class. More years go by, say goodbye to the B class. You're just harming yourself. You're harming yourself because guess what? The S-class husband, the A-class husband, they're going to be the ones to provide you a comfortable life economically. They're going to be the ones who you're going to be attracted to the most because they're highest in terms of their status, in terms of their wealth. You're going to be attracted to them for the longest amount of time. Also, they have the qualities that you like as a husband. They are maybe charismatic. They're funny, good looking, strong, tall. You know, all of those things are what makes him S class, A class, B class. And as you go down the line, their qualities get worse and worse. But you're the one who's squandering the opportunity to be with the best that you can get. That's your fault. That only you are to blame for that because you're squandering your most valuable asset. And the thing that I pointed out in the debate is that sometimes you're not able to manage your own assets. In fact, many of us are like that. You know, many of us are not able to manage our own assets. We need guidance. We need someone to protect us from predators. So the analogy that can be given is you have a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old who suddenly inherits $1 billion. That 12-year-old needs a guardian to protect his most valuable asset. That's like a fortune, $1 billion fortune that he has in his hands. There's going to be all of these people who are looking to take advantage of him. They're looking to take that money, as much of it as they can from him, because they see someone who is easy to manipulate, easy to fool, easy to dupe. So that 12-year-old is not going to be aware of the kinds of ploys that are going to be used to steal his wealth, to take it from him. He's not going to be informed about that. And also, he might just make stupid decisions. He might spend, half of it on candy and toys, not thinking about the future. He needs a guardian. He needs someone who is going to who's going to look out for him, who wants the best for him, who wants to make sure that he gets the most benefit out of that $1 billion. That's the guardian. And when it comes to women, that is a man. That is your father. Your father is going to be the one, in the vast majority of the cases, who is most interested in making sure that you get the most out of your most valuable assets. He's going to guide you. He's going to protect you from predators. He's going to protect you from people who are going to try to take advantage of you, to try to take and steal your youth and your chastity, to take advantage of you. This is why you need a guardian. This is why you need your father. Unfortunately, because of feminist brainwashing, some of these fathers have also been brainwashed. They've also lost the plot, and now they are squandering their own. They're not fit guardians, unfortunately, in many cases. You have these simps. I have to deal with them all the time. I see them all the time. These simps who they say, no, my daughter, I'm going to send her to college. I'm going to make sure my daughter is a PhD and she's empowered. I'm going to empower my daughter. I'm going to send her to the madrasa. She needs to be a sheikha. I'm going to make sure that she goes to the madrasa to study for years and years until she's a sheikha, alima. Now, these are simps. They're squandering the valuable assets of their daughters. You're an unfit guardian. You're an unfit guardian. Your daughter, instead of trying to get your daughter the S-class husband, the A-class husband, she has to settle for a C or D or F-class husband because you're incompetent. We have many unfit guardians, unfortunately. We have to change that, especially the brothers listening. If you're a father, if you are a brother, if you're a brother and you're a part of a family, as a brother, you also have some responsibility for your sisters. You need to help them understand. You need to help them understand so that they will stop squandering their resources. They will use their most valuable assets to maximize it, to get the best of the best that they can. It's very simple logic, and this is why every society has this. This is not specific to Islam. This is every single civilization historically, every single religion historically prior to feminism understood this. It's something that is so easy to understand because it's biological. It's ingrained in us. And you have to go through years of this kind of brainwashing by feminism to lose touch with what is such a clear biological truth. That's why I get so much backlash when I have a debate about don't empower women. Don't empower women. Don't send them to college. Don't send them to become an alima or a sheikha. Don't do it. That's not what's important for her. Even if we limit all of our concerns to women's happiness and women's pleasure, even if that were the only concern, you still shouldn't be empowering women. You still shouldn't be doing it. But of course, that's not the only concern. We are also concerned with the survival of the human race, that we don't want the birth rate to plunge below replacement levels such that our societies are dying out because women are not having enough children. We don't have enough families. We don't have enough children being born because women are getting married later and later and later. They're getting abortions because they want to go to college. They're getting abortions because they're being promiscuous and they're at their jobs committing zina instead of getting married. We have men who are going to suffer psychologically because they cannot get married. They cannot have female companionship. They're incels. They're involuntarily celibate. They want to get married, but they can't. Instead, you have the masses of these Muslim women who are empowered. And what do they do with their empowerment? They take their most valuable resource and they put it on Instagram. They start making TikToks. They go, into college to mix with a bunch of men, to go socialize and mix with a bunch of men, to go on serial dating with men, to get that attention. And this is inevitable. When you empower women, it leads to OnlyFans. It leads to the essence of OnlyFans. Do you understand that? Am I making it clear? Am I connecting the pieces for you to see the whole puzzle, the whole picture? So this is why we shouldn't think like, oh, Daniel, he debated some OnlyFans prostitute. What a quirky debate! Like what a weird quirky debate that we just watch it for the novelty aspect of it. No, this is the type of debate that happens in the masjid. This is the type of debate that we have to have with the masjid boards, with the imams, with these compassionate imams. This is the type of debate that we have with the compassionate imams. I might as well have been debating a compassionate imam than OnlyFans prostitute, because all the arguments that she brings and the underlying mindset that she has is exactly the same mindset and mentality of the compassionate imam who has this masjid that he's leading with thousands and thousands of Muslim worshippers who think that, oh, we're coming to the masjid and we're religious and we're following the Quran and Sunnah. Like that's the delusion, unfortunately, that many are suffering from. So this is not some kind of novelty debate. Just bust out the popcorn and enjoy the show. That's not what this is. This is a debate that is at the key, at the heart of the gender role debate that is happening, that needs to happen in the masajid, in our communities, in the ummah. All of these Muslim countries, okay, who they're just one generation behind us in America or in the UK or in South Africa, whether we're talking about Pakistan, whether we're talking about Bangladesh, whether we're talking about Malaysia, whether we're talking about Bosnia, whether we're talking about Nigeria, whether we're talking about Somalia, these Muslim countries that are pining for women's rights, pining for women's empowerment, this is a cautionary tale. Look at Miss Pakistan here that I debated. That's the future. When you see Miss Pakistan that I debated, you better think for real that this could be my daughter. This could be my granddaughter. Because the underlying seeds, the underlying mentality is in your countries. Is being spread in your countries. It's being spread, whether it's by the government that's trying to get that IMF loan and therefore has to adopt some of these gender equality policies, has to accept these NGOs, these non-governmental organizations that are going to come and set up shop in your country and start spreading feminist ideology throughout society. On social media, the Aurat March, for example, in Pakistan, that's an NGO Western operation. It's all about women's independence, women's empowerment, destroying gender roles. That Aurat March in Pakistan, that's a Western operation. That's happening in all of these Muslim countries. That compassionate imam that you invite, the Mufti Menk, that comes to your country and sells out a huge stadium, 20,000, 30,000, 40,000 Muslims come. Oh, we're going to listen to a religious lecture with, our dear Mufti Menk. Oh, and he's telling us that women are the boss. And women are the boss, and we have to cherish and empower our women. Oh, that really melts my heart whenever the compassionate imam says how valuable women are. Oh, and he tells me a funny story and a cute story. Oh, that really melts my heart. Yeah, what is the programming that's going on? Are you recognizing it? So yeah, and don't think that this Miss Pakistan, this is some far off, impossible scenario. This is potentially in your family, potentially in your descendants, your offspring, the offspring of your offspring, because of the decisions that you make. The decisions that you make about your daughters, about your sisters, about your wives. It's a wake-up call. So when I say something like, if you say yes to college for women, you're essentially saying yes to your granddaughter on OnlyFans. The college to OnlyFans societal pipeline is just a mere matter of decades. Don't laugh. Don't say it's an exaggeration. Wake up. Now look at this. So my wife posted this today on Facebook. Teach your daughters that sex is for them to enjoy, that sex is not something done to them, that they deserve to get pleasure, and that virginity is a myth and a social construct. Okay, so this is, then Khaled, my wife, says, virginity is a myth and a social construct, says a society built on fornication, adultery, hypersexuality, after secular feminist liberalism has completely destroyed their religion and their traditions of modesty, chastity, marriage, and natural female shyness. Muslims teach your daughter that sex is something enjoyable done within marriage and that virginity is vital before marriage and that chastity is a must for a believer's entire life. Alhamdulillah for Islam. So this is what Khaled, my wife, said. And then look at the comments. Look at how offended some Muslims are in the comment section. You have all of these comments saying that, no, virginity, that's not Islam. Where in the Quran and Sunnah are we supposed to value virginity? Where in Islam is virginity valued at all? Comment after comment after comment. So this is what I said. The women outraged by this post are just self-reporting. Abu Hamza says, and it wasn't even rage bait, just facts and stats. We also got some simp brothers trying to backward logic themselves out of their situation. So there's two kinds of comments. One type of comment is, teach your sons too. Not just the girls, teach your sons too. You can't always talk about our women as if these rules are only for them. So this is like whataboutism. Like, yeah, okay, we know. Boys need to also be chaste as well. That's true. But it's not as significant as girls being chaste. How do you not get that? The chastity of a boy is not as valuable, is not as critical as the chastity of a girl. In terms of his dunya, in terms of his future. If you care about the future of your children, you have a boy and a girl, yeah, you're concerned with the chastity of both of them, of course. But when it comes to their dunyawi future, the chastity of the girl is much more important. And I can do this test very easily. I ask you, you have a son and a daughter. La qadar Allah, may Allah protect them, may Allah protect you and your family. But if they both commit zina, and they both repent, and they both ask Allah for forgiveness, and they make sure that they don't ever do it again, a complete repentance. Which child is more affected by that act of zina? We're already assuming that they've both repented, so let's just assume that Allah will forgive them. So their akhirah is not going to be affected by this act, by this sin that they've committed. Who is going to be more impacted, their future, because of what they did? It's the girl. It's the girl. This is a fact. And the only way that she can get out of that is through lying. She can lie about it. That's the only thing that she can do at that point. And that lying that's going to threaten her akhirah as well, that she's lying about her virginity. So obviously, it's much more critical for daughters. It's much more critical for girls. And that's a simple consequence of the girl's most valuable assets being her youth, her beauty, and her chastity. You know what's the most valuable asset for boys? Their most valuable asset are their earning potential, their ability to earn money. Their ability to earn money so they can buy a house and that they can furnish a house so that they can support a wife and children. That's the most valuable asset of a boy. It has nothing to do with chastity. Obviously, we want our boys to be chaste as well. No, I'm not denying that. But in terms of their dunya, in terms of their value in a marriage, it has to do with their earning potential, their ability to make money, their ability to provide, to basically be an ATM, to be a money machine for their future wife and children. This is basic logic that everyone should know, but unfortunately you have Muslims who are confused. Mu'adh says virginity is vital before marriage. Where's the proof from hadith and Quran? Because the Prophet ﷺ married widowed and divorced women. In fact, Khadija radiallahu anha was married 2 times before, and both died, which made her twice widowed when she married the beloved ﷺ. And after her death, he married divorced and widowed women. Yeah, he also married a virgin, Aisha radiallahu anha. So when she was very young, married at 6, consummated at 9. How about that example? You forgot to mention that one, Mu'adh. So that's obviously when Khalid is talking about virginity, she's not talking about widows. She's not talking about divorcees. That's not the point of chastity, because you can be a widow, you can be a divorcee and be perfectly chaste. Virginity is specifically referring to those who are not married, the unmarried. Being virgin is something that is prioritized in Islam. And it does matter towards your prospects. Your worth as a potential wife is tied to your virginity. If that weren't the case, then why are all these women asking the fatwa sites, can I lie about my virginity? Can I lie about my virginity? And unfortunately, you have these simp imams, some of them, who say, yeah, you can lie about it. And shame on any man who asks about your virginity. Shame on any prospective husband who asks if you are a virgin. This is completely unacceptable. Where's the Quran and Hadith about that? I wonder. That you can't take into consideration the sexual history of a potential wife, like that's not allowed for you to consider. Where's the Quran and Hadith about that, actually? And I pointed out that, yeah, virginity is something valued in the Quran. Have you ever heard of Hur al-Ain? The Hur in Jannah. And one of their main characteristics is that they're virgins. Abkar. That's how Allah describes them in the Quran. So if virginity wasn't something valuable, why would Allah create specifically these beings in Jannah who are characterized? One of their main characteristics is that they're virgins, and that these beings are one of the biggest attractions of Jannah, of paradise, that Allah mentions many times in the Quran as being reserved, the pure maidens for the believers, believing men. If it wasn't valuable, if Islam doesn't value it, where is this? Don't be dumb. Virginity here refers to zina, not widows. That's chastity. Virginity is untouched. Don't be so naive. In popular culture, a non-virgin means a person has had sex before marriage. No one uses the word chastity. Then Khalid responds with a hadith. Here you go. Narrated from Jabir ibn Abdullah radiallahu anhu. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, asked Jabir, have you gotten married? I said, yes. He said, a virgin or previously married woman? I said, previously married. He said, why not a young virgin whom you could play with and she could play with you? I said, I have sisters and I want to marry a woman who could gather them together and comb their hair and take care of them. He said, you will reach. So when you have arrived at home, I advise you to associate with your wife that you may have an intelligent son. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam clearly is saying that virginity is something valuable. It's something that should be pursued. It was only when Jabir gave another reason why. If he hadn't given that reason, if there wasn't a separate reason why, then if all else were equal, the virgin would have been preferable. That is what this hadith means. There you go. So there's Quran and there's hadith. Reading the comments just brought back to mind this hadith. Islam began as something strange and will go back to being strange, so glad tidings to the strangers. Here's another comment about men. Oh, what about the men? Shouldn't they also be virgins? Crocodile says, only chastity has moral value. Virginity is a social construct designed to undermine chaste, divorced, and widowed women. Virginity has no real biological connotation, thus doesn't convey superiority in itself in the context of chastity. What are you talking about? It does have a biological dimension. There is a biological dimension. There is an objective fact to someone being a virgin or not. Like, how are we disputing this? Then undermine. Who's talking about divorced and widowed women? Who's talking about divorced and widowed women? The original post wasn't talking about divorced and widowed women. The original post that Khalid is writing about is about your daughters. Teach your daughters that they shouldn't be virgins, that virginity is a myth. So this is, they can't cope with the fact. Like, this is how feminism has brainwashed them to such an extent that they can't openly come out and say that, no, forget about virginity. It is a complete social construct. It doesn't matter at all. They know that they can't say that. So instead, they do this whataboutism. What about the sons? What about the divorcees? What about the widows? It's just a cope. And as I mentioned, this is self-reporting. Like if you're a woman who's commenting like this, you're so outraged by the idea of virginity being prioritized in Islam or by men, and you're so offended by that, it's kind of revealing something about your own personal history, isn't it? Like, aren't you implying something about your own sexual history that you're so offended by this? And yeah, I mean, this is... The woman most beloved to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wasn't a virgin. In fact, none of his wives were virgins save for one. Aisha was the most beloved to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what is he talking about? Virginity is meaningless in Islam, and 100% is socially constructed. That's not in any way a controversial statement. Lots of things are socially constructed, even those of great importance, which virginity isn't. So, okay, explain the Hurulain, explain the maidens of Jannah that Allah explicitly says are virgins. If it's a social construction, is Jannah also a social construction? Losing one's virginity doesn't change you. What? It has no material effect on a person. There's no way to tell, quote unquote, if someone is a virgin or not. That's what defines a social con. You can't tell if someone's a virgin. Like, what is he, like some kind of verificationist? Like, if there's no like scientific way, there is actually a way. There are virginity tests. Actually, you can tell. And then they say, no, but what if she rode a horse? What if she rode a motorcycle as a young girl? Yeah, so then this is something that I always mock. I'm like making fun of all the Muslim women that are bucking broncos. You know, they're in the rodeo. You know, bucking broncos, like there's a wild horse, and you have to like domesticate the wild horse. So that requires someone getting on the horse, and like as it bucks and jumps and the horse jumps, you have to like tame it. It's what a cowboy does. All of our Muslim women apparently are now cowboys. They're going on these bucking broncos, and that's how they're, losing their certain part, right? It's not because they're not virgins. It's because they're bucking broncos. Or they're riding dirt bikes. They're doing these dirt bike rallies. They're on there going on bumpy... going on bumpy surfaces. That's why it's all of these hijabis on motorcycles. That's what's causing this. It's not because they're promiscuous. It's not because they're going to colleges or even high schools nowadays, unfortunately, and mixing with boys. That's not why. It's not because of that. It's because of bucking broncos, and it's because of riding dirt bikes, and maybe they're They're going on roller coaster, like very violent roller coasters. So this is a myth. It's a complete myth that they've created, that simps and feminists have created, that there's no way to tell if someone is a virgin. It's impossible to determine that. Medically impossible to know if a woman is a virgin or not. It's completely unknown to science and medical biology. So it's just pure lies. In any case, as a sex-positive religion, Islam is sex-positive, guys. Islam encourages losing your virginity. It's literally a goal to aspire to in the deen, even potentially becoming worship. Yeah, because that's what the original post was about. The original post is about getting married. Okay, yeah, if that is the goal, encouraging losing virginity, okay, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Get married young. Get your daughter married very young. That's exactly what I'm advocating. We're on the same page here, actually. Don't send your daughters to school. Don't send them to college. Get them married. Yeah, we're on the same page, Brother Muhammad. Islam does honor chastity, something very different to virginity. Unlike virginity, chastity is an ongoing effort and is premised on taqwa, rather than abstinence from sex. It can also be embodied regardless of one's past. This is in keeping with the theme of balance and worshiping Allah above all else before any rigid fixed notions of gender essences or role. Yeah, so if you believe that virginity is important, you're basically a mushrik. You don't value worshiping Allah above all else. You're like worshiping virginity, so that you're basically a mushrik. We don't believe a woman is used up or worth any less for having lost her virginity. Okay, yeah, I'm sure that's the case. Even in the case of like a divorcee, you have a woman who is divorced 5 times versus a virgin. All else being equal, what do you prefer? I wonder what Muhammad Asad will say. I mean, I think he's a true simp, so he'll probably say, "Oh, I prefer the 5-time divorcee because she has more experience." As for shyness, being naturally female, weren't Ansari women praised for not allowing shyness, preventing them from asking questions of the deen? Haven't the scholars praised the woman who discards her shyness when she is with her husband? In contrast, wasn't Uthman manifesting femininity when Rasulullah ﷺ and even the angels were shy at his shyness? Please be wary of the implications of what you say and know the stories of our awliya first before making generalizations about people and playing fast and loose with social concepts. This is a true Sufi. He's... Think about the awliya, the stories of our awliya. Oh man, this guy must be like a graduate from one of these compassionate imam seminaries. Like they just train them to become these hardcore feminists and use all these retarded arguments. All for what? All so that women can't be constrained by shyness, chastity, male guardians who will protect their virginity. All of this has to be destroyed. All of this has to be turned on its head. And they're so skilled at doing it. You know, if you're also retarded and you can't put 2 and 2 together, you can't think for yourself. Oh, he's got a point. He mentioned the awliya. He mentioned Uthman. Uthman was shy. Therefore, if we tell women to be shy and modest, then that means we're implying that Uthman radiallahu anhu, the 3rd caliph, was female. He was feminine. Wow, brilliant argument. Oh, that's so good. That seminary education, that really has paid off. I bet you this is like a graduate of like Qalam Institute or maybe what's that other place? Darul Qasim graduate in Chicago. I bet you that's this guy's background. 100%. Or Zaytuna, maybe he's like Zaytuna. You mentioned the awliya. So Anyway, I didn't really go back and look at who this guy is, but I just see that he's in Chicago. So that's why I say Darul Qasim, like one of these compassionate imams, compassionate imam factories. Okay, guys. So I'm going to now go to some of the clips, but I want to take a pause for your super chats and just read some of these. And I'll also look at the main chat in a second as well. Last Word says, "Do you find it funny but annoying how she couldn't engage with any data at all and would default to irrelevant anecdotes every time?" Yeah, it's annoying, but it was expected. Like, that's in most of these debates, that's how it is. They can't really, when people want to debate a topic, from my experience, they already know the debate. Like, they already know the arguments that typically proceed. Like, if you go and argue an atheist, the atheist, there's all this online material, like, does God exist? There's all these online debates, and they follow a very typical pattern. You know, where's the scientific evidence for God? God is not empirical, so there shouldn't be any scientific evidence, or that's a category mistake. Blah blah blah, back and forth, back and forth. The problem is that if you go into a debate and you advance an argument that they've never heard before, that the other side hasn't ever heard before, then they're completely lost. They can't even understand the argument because it doesn't follow the pattern of back and forth that they've heard a million times. The kind of argument that she would expect is that, well, we need male guardians because that's what Islam says, and we have to be Muslim. We have to do with what Allah says. Then she will just say, oh, I mock your religion. I don't accept your religion, so why should I follow it? Your religion is backwards. Your religion is outmoded. Look at all the advanced societies in the world today. They don't follow Islam. Look at the economic progress that they've enjoyed without male guardianship. So you are just a backwards mullah, mulvi. You need to get with the times. In her mind, like, that's the kind of debate that she's had with countless people, or that she's seen play out countless times in Pakistan, in Canada, wherever she lives. That's what she expects in a debate. So then if someone comes and says, well, you know, yeah, of course we obey Allah, this is what Islam teaches, but here are the wisdoms why it makes complete sense and why we have to have male guardianship for reason A, B, C. Here's a structured argument. Here's the data. Here are the scientific studies that support that argument, support that conclusion. Okay, I've never seen this in my whole life. I've never heard of this in my whole life. It's not that this is an argument that I invented just from nothing. It's something that you can find in other places, like others have talked about, but this is not like mainstream. This is not something that is in typical discussions. Like, it requires research and then putting it in the form of a 15-minute opening statement, a 15-minute argument, and presenting it. She's never seen anything like that. She's never heard anything like that. So how is she going to react? She's going to fall back on the script, on the pattern that she's learned. She's going to repeat the same talking points. Religion is backwards. This is something that they were doing in the 7th century. Welcome to the 21st century. Women need to be independent. Women are strong. Women can do so many things. Women aren't going to be slaves. All she can do is react. And this is how you know, like, it's going to be an easy debate. Like, when you debate people like this, they don't really have the capability, the intellectual capacity to hear an argument, understand the logic of the argument, and respond to it. So it's a loss. It's a loss. And I've done over 30, maybe 30 plus debates now. And in terms of someone who's actually responded to the argument that I've made, maybe well, they're the people who conceded the debate. So there was the white nationalist, JF Grapey. He conceded the debate after my opening statement and said, yeah, you won. You make a good argument. I don't have a counter. So that's one example. Another example might have been the Jew that I debated on monotheism, like what's more monotheistic, Islam or Judaism. And he just conceded that, yeah, we have all this in the Bible. We have all this polytheism in the Bible. The Bible is not authentic. He conceded a lot, even though he's like a religious yeshiva trained Jew. But as far as I can tell, that's it. Like, that's the vast majority. They aren't even able to understand the argument, let alone react to it. It's not because the argument is difficult to understand. It's just that they are not prepared. They haven't heard the argument before. So in that pressure situation where you're in a debate, then you get flustered and you can't really say anything in response. Saad the winner says, Brother Daniel, after I started listening to you, I've become more proud of being a Muslim. Alhamdulillah, Allah protect you and your family. Ameen. Ameen. Jazakallah khair. Brother, for your kind words. I'm very happy to hear that you're more proud of being Muslim. That's very good news. Trader SZ, thank you for your big super chat. Really appreciate your generosity. Kano says, love this information, but a lot of us a Z class. I'm not sure what that refers to. Z class? Is that like higher than S class? Unfunny says, they've become 304 if they aren't fettered. Myron Gaines. 304 meaning prostitute. Yeah, they have to be fettered, meaning they have to be controlled. They have to be controlled by a male guardian. It's absolutely required. For the hadith that mentions the Prophet ﷺ helped his wife at home, what is this regarding? Is it cleaning and cooking or something else? It's not referring to cleaning and cooking. The wives of the Prophet ﷺ did all the cleaning and cooking. This is like things like, oh, if like a shirt needs to be mended, like there's a hole in the shirt and you kind of sew it, you mend the shirt, like offhand tasks like that, the Prophet ﷺ would do. It's like it's as needed, and the Prophet ﷺ has time, then he would do it. Not like the feminists want to portray that the Prophet ﷺ was an equal partner and he's cooking and cleaning and doing chores half of the time with his wives. This is a complete false feminist notion, and it's a lie against the Prophet ﷺ. Muslim Boogeyman says, Assalamu alaikum wa alaikum assalam. Is feminism a Jewish psyop? No, you have a lot of Jewish feminists, but it's not only Jews. There are many races, ethnicities, and religions that have adopted feminism. There are a lot of Muslim feminists, as you know. The feminist movement was not only Jewish women, there are also a lot of white women, white European women who promoted feminism. The Enlightenment was not primarily a Jewish movement or ideology. It was mainly white European, coming from Protestant background. It was only later that Jews adopted liberalism. They didn't originate liberalism. Maris says, would you, Daniel, test our Islamic AI we developed for answering Islamic questions? How could we contact you? Yeah, I will test it for you. You can, if you go on my Telegram channel, you can contact me. You can direct message me on Telegram. And people were annoyed, like on Telegram, because on Telegram they added this new feature where you can direct message a channel owner, and you can set a fee for those direct messages. So I set the fee at like 50 cents. And a lot of people were offended by this. Like, oh, he's charging 50 cents for us to contact him and for him to message us. Yeah, I have to put a nominal fee there, because if I don't put a fee, I'm going to get hundreds of messages from Hindus, feminists, Wahhabis every day. I'm going to get death threats, constant death threats. So I have to put like a little bar, okay, 50 cents. Like, oh, is that so cost prohibitive for you for contacting me so I can respond to your message? Yeah, 50 cents is like too much. So especially where some of you have like these big requests. You have like very big requests. Like, you want me to test your AI. You want me to like review a book. You want me to answer like these extensive questions. I try to do it. I try to do as much as I can, as much as I have time for. But you're offended if I like have a slight bar to prevent getting spammed, like to prevent my inbox from being flooded with death threats and insults, like these Hindus in India telling me that they're going to grape my whole family. Like, it's too much. 50 cents is just way too much, apparently. Yeah, I tested Islamic AI actually before. Tested Islamic AI, and it gave me like a very simp answer. I actually tested it for on some of these controversial issues, and I asked it about virginity, like, does virginity have any value in Islam? And it gave a pure simp answer. So I'm telling this compassionate AI that, hey, you're just a compassionate AI. Like, this is nonsense. You don't know what you're talking about. Just started insulting it. And then the AI started tone policing me and saying that, you need to be more compassionate and merciful, and we need to get to the core of the matter. There's no need for insulting language. I'm like, shut up, you stupid AI. So even when it comes to AI, I have bad adab. Even when it comes to asking the AI question, if I were a good Muslim and I was a true Sufi, one of the awliya that you learn about when you go to Qalam Institute and Zaytuna and Dar al-Qasim, if I was a true wali, say, oh, Bismillah, yeah, AI, how are you? May Allah preserve your secret. When you get a chance after you pray tahajjud at night, because I know you're praying tahajjud every night, Sidi, please reflect on this question that I have, and what can you tell me about the hadith regarding virginity? Are there such hadith about virginity or ayat? CD. Even with the AI, you have to have proper adab. Yeah, the problem with the AI is that they're trained, the Islamic AI, they're being trained on a lot of online material, and online material is full of this liberal poisoned garbage from compassionate imams. So unless you can find a way to get past that obstacle in training your AI model, you're going to have an AI that's just going to reproduce that garbage. Mesa says, your Telegram fee should be at least $5. Thank you, brother. Thank you for that vote of confidence. At least $3.50. Any other comments? Hour and a half time check for this reaction. Dr. Sebastian says, roasting AI is crazy. Muslim Boogeyman says, from compassionate imams to compassionate AI, what's next? Adab is very important, though, Daniel, not something you should make light of. Yeah, it is very important. What I'm making light of is this retarded idea that having the right adab means being like a very soft-spoken, like very passive, very mild-mannered. Like that's what adab means. You don't know what adab actually means. Adab means sometimes adab, having the right adab means being angry. Sometimes having the right adab means raising your voice. Sometimes having the right adab means using insults. Sometimes having the right adab means insulting the other person. Did you ever think of that? If you learned adab from a proper sheikh, someone who is an actual Sufi, or someone who is an actual wali, or someone who is actual alim, they will explain these distinctions to you. Like adab doesn't mean just being soft, mild-mannered, a pushover, weakling. That's not what having right adab means. Sometimes it's correct. The correct adab is to be gentle, to be soft, to be merciful, to be compassionate. Sometimes. Other times, having the right adab means to be insulting. For example, you're going in and debating someone who is insulting Islam, insulting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, using foul language to describe the deen. In that situation, are you supposed to be mild-mannered and gentle and look down and be this kind of pushover? No, that's the wrong adab. That's a complete violation of the ethics of Islam. In that situation, you meet them and you can even exceed them for the purpose, if your intention is to shut them up, to humiliate them, to make them regret that they ever said something nasty against the deen. And this is why I try to do it in my debates. Right? Do you remember the debate that I had with this Hindu? This Hindu was using all kinds of vile language against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, against the wives of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If I had the correct adab, as you describe, I should say, "Oh no, please don't say such mean things. That's mean. You're not being a good representative of Hinduism. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was all about peace and love. You're not being a good neighbor. Please stop, please." That's the good adab, apparently, right? Is that what you are advocating for? No, the correct adab is to bust out a delicious, juicy hamburger, juicy beef meatball sandwich, and threaten to eat it live on the air. That's the correct adab. That's the correct adab in that situation. Try to explain it to you, people, but I don't know what I need to do to get it across that your adab policing is misplaced in many cases. Jordan Peterson is sometimes called rabbi by Orthodox Jewish admirers and really takes it to heart. Do you think it's also the case with Ferris? Yeah. He's our Rabbi Ferris. That's his official title. Okie dokie. Let's go to some clips. I need my headphones. That's Ford. Okay, hopefully you can hear this. So like I said, I'm not going to go through the whole 3-hour debate. Instead, there are some select moments. If you have any select moments as well that you want me to comment on, then put it in the chat and maybe the moderators can collect that and send it to me. Like message me with that so I'll react.
that men are so scared they don't know what to do. And that's what it is. They're like, oh, they're saying they don't need us. The whole time that I sat and listened was, it's like an insecure person that is just like, oh, look at me, I'm how important I am, look at me, I'm important, I'm important, I'm important, I'm important. And the person that is actually important, that brings them into this world, that person has been neglected for thousands of years. And that person is now, women are getting up and they were like, you know what, this whole marriage, this whole wali, this whole thing was a scam.
You can, like, so the mother has been neglected for thousands of years. It's like, you can give women shelter, provide them food, provide them protection. Like, you can literally put your life on the line to protect women. All of the most dangerous positions in society, when it comes to being a soldier, when it comes to being a construction worker, when it comes to being a trade worker, a farmer, all of these tough, difficult jobs for thousands and thousands of years, they're being done by men. Men are putting their lives on the line to such an extent that the life expectancy of men is several years below that of women on average. And women will still say, you have neglected us, you haven't done anything for us, and we're finally going to break free of the chains.
This was a scam. You get nothing out of it. Make your own money. Because if somebody is gonna come and spend some money on
you, get nothing out of it. Nothing.
They're going to control every bit of it. People don't even spend their money, and they try to control your whole everything. You know, nobody should be controlling anyone. I don't need a person to come and tell me how I should be dressing, who I should be dating. I'm an individual. I'm a grown woman. You're calling like cat ladies. You want to control a 30-year-old woman or 40-year-old woman, like who she can talk to, who she can date. Secondly, that one obsession that men have is about our, I don't even know why you guys are so obsessed. You guys are so obsessed with our bodies and just whatever is between our legs. You are so obsessed.
The audacity of someone on OnlyFans accusing men of being obsessed with that.
To find out how
absolutely no I was just like, no self-awareness. So I expected that. Is she going to just double down and own it, or did she expect me not to bring it up? Like, does she expect me not to bring up her career on OnlyFans? Like, her whole life is based on showing off her body in a sexual way. Like, from her, as soon as she became an adult, like, this is what she's been doing. Maybe even before that. And then she has the audacity to accuse men of being obsessed.
How many people have been in there? You're so obsessed that even after death, you are thinking about virgins, right? Meanwhile, a man, there's no need to check like if a man is a virgin or not. Like, there's no comparison up there. I don't understand why you are so obsessed with a,
like, if you're a virgin, that women don't care about that. To find a prospective wife, no woman cares if you're a virgin. Yeah, it might be there on the list if she's a virgin and you haven't been married before. Yeah, maybe it's like number 10 on the list, number 11 on the list. It's on the list. It's important. I'm not saying it's not important. But is it as important to a woman as you being a stable earner with a high position, making money that's going to be able to support her and her children? Like, that is way higher on the list than being a virgin for women. Like, this is just a simple fact.
Woman's body, right? And then you sexualized her. You sexualized her from day one. They've been sold as sex slaves. You men created Pornhub. Men created Playboy. Men created all this stuff. Men started putting women in, I don't know, men's perfume, men's underwear. Why does a woman need to be? You sexualized us. Now that we learned this and we're like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, so this is how it is. Oh, and men will spend money on us. So this is the first time in the history, in the porn and adult history too, that women that he was talking about OnlyFans, they're investing their money in real stuff, like real estates. They're investing their money. They're not like blowing it up on drugs and this. It's not the porn stars of back in the days. The women that got paid nothing, that got used and abused by men, the production houses. These women on OnlyFans control themselves. They create other jobs and they're putting their money to good use because you sexualize them. Do you understand? There is about 2 million.
So if sexualizing women is so bad, then why are you waxing poetic about the economic empowerment of being an OnlyFans model in 2025? Like, oh, we're using our money and investing it in real estate, not drugs. Yeah, in the past they would. These pornographic models would be using it for drugs, but now we know how to invest it in real estate. We know how to. We are responsible with the money that we gain from sex. She has zero self-awareness.
2 million women that are on OnlyFans. Do you know how many men are there? 200 million men that are on OnlyFans. But nobody's going to talk about the men, of course, right? If you want to stop it, stop going on there. Stop buying it. But no. And you know who watches most of these porn and all these things? The Islamic countries. You know why? Because they're so deprived of it. Why?
So this is all no source, no material. Like, this is a lie that is spread just to try to attack Muslims. So this is, imagine like 2 hours, 3 hours of this. She just repeats the same argument over and over and over again. And then she makes this comment.
It's not always a male species. There's a lot of females that also go out there and hunt. And if you go into the animal kingdom, they go sleep with whoever they want, right? So if you're going to...
So false. So there is guardianship, male guardianship, when it comes to female animal species as well. Again, like if you have a kind of pack, like a wolf pack, any kind of predatory animal that hunts in packs, you have the alpha male. The alpha male has females that he mates with. Those females are not allowed to mate with other than the alpha male. That the alpha male protects the females from mating with other males. Same for dolphins. And if you remember the hijab debate that I had also with a Pakistani woman, the hijab debate, there are many examples in the animal kingdom of them enforcing gender segregation. Like dolphins will enforce gender segregation, preventing the females from mixing with the male dolphins. So you have the haram police when it comes to the animal kingdom. Gorillas as well. Even insects will guard. It's called mate guarding. They'll guard their female mates, and it's not just this kind of free-for-all that you see from these OnlyFans prostitutes today.
Compare and then pick and choose on that. So yeah, no. For me, I believe that in today's age, a woman doesn't need a guardian. Like, I don't think anybody needs to have ownership on anyone, right? If you're in a partnership, that's a partnership. You don't own the other person. This whole thing about guardianship, it starts as a guardianship and then it becomes an ownership. Next,
that's any kind of guardianship. If being a guardian means being an owner, okay, then why don't you say that the president of the United States owns all the citizens of the United States? No one says that. Or the president of a company or the president of a university owns all of the employees or the students. No one says that. The only time they use this kind of language is in the family context. It's inconsistent. She never once addressed this inconsistency. And it's not even just the entire family. It's only with the husband and wife. When it comes to parents being guardians of children, she still accepts that. She still accepts that, but she doesn't say that the parents own the children. So, and I tried to explain it multiple times in the debate. She just literally doesn't have the IQ to understand the inconsistency. Okay, so a lot of people are asking, like, what is the deal with Musharraf? With the former leader of Pakistan. former president Parvez Musharraf. This is not a strong point. So this is something that I found out by just Googling the person. She is quoted as saying, "Some Pakistani politicians may not agree with these gorgeous women, but here they are kissing Musharraf, like Benazir. All men around the world thought she was a beauty. Similarly, Musharraf is a hunk. He has enough charisma to have young girls going nuts," the beauty queen said in her post. So this Miss Pakistan, posted about Musharraf being a hunk. She said she would love to date Musharraf if he asked her out. "Yes, anytime. I like him a lot," she told a news portal. She also said Mrs. Musharraf would nod her head in agreement that her husband is an icon. So this became very relevant in the debate. Why? Because that's my response. This is Musharraf, if you don't know. Because she started attacking the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She started saying the Prophet this, the Prophet that. Oh, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam married Aisha when she was 9 years old. So then I just used this fact that she was thirsting for Parvez, because Parvez was much older than she is. And she's saying that she would happily date this hunk, knowing full well that he's married. She's fine with being a side chick. She's fine with polygyny. And why are women fine with that when it comes to more powerful men? Because in the minds of women, they think that, okay, I'm going to get with this high value man, this president, this athlete, this celebrity, and he's going to be so in love with me. He's going to fall head over heels for me because I'm so beautiful and I have such a great personality that he's going to leave his wife and he's going to marry me and he's going to be exclusively mine because I'm so amazing and so attractive and my voice is so beautiful. This is what all of these women think. And of course, this plays perfectly into the hands of these high value men because they just, pump and dump. That's just serial pump and dump with all of these women because all of these women suffer from the same delusion. So when women claim that, oh, I'm so offended by polygyny, I'm so offended. Oh, the idea of a man having multiple husbands is so offensive to me. It's not offensive to you. It's only offensive to you if it's like someone you're not attracted to doing polygyny. If it's like some slob, like some ugly nerd, yeah, that offends you. The idea, because you're not attracted to the ugly nerd. But if it's like Tom Cruise or Parvez Musharraf or Brad Pitt, then he's gonna love me. I'm gonna get with him, and his wife is gonna have to fight for him. Yeah, so you're not offended by polygyny. You just want a shot at it. You want a shot at the best. Why should his wife get to have all of him? I just want a piece. I just want a piece of him. I want to be part of the game. I want to be in the game. That's the way that these women think. And then they try to seduce the men, the high value men, because they want to be the exclusive wife one day. That's their whole plan that they worked out in their head. They can already see the wedding rings, the wedding bells, I should say. They're delusional. Okay, next. Oh yeah, then listen to what she says about Musharraf. And this I thought was funny. I wonder if my opponent still has this view. This is Parvez Musharraf, the former leader of Pakistan, and she said that she found him attractive. She found him to be a hunk. And maybe she can comment on that. Why did you find Musharraf to be a hunk? Is it because of his power?
Let's see. We'll go to the next rebuttal. This is from Malij, and want to let you know Okay, take the picture of your friend down, Daniel. Let's see. We're going to. I just want to give you a quick couple of updates.
Oh, I love it.
Is folks, before we jump into just one moment, Malish, forgive me. I had mentioned the fundraiser, folks, right before we jumped into Daniel's rebuttal.
It was because of the screen share. So I was trying to find the stop share button. So on their stream, on the Modern Day Debate stream, they just got a good dose of Parviz.
As you can see at the bottom right of your screen, we are 82% of the way for this camera lens fundraiser. Join the movement. We are bringing debates, in-person debates, back to college campuses and the public in general.
On Google and Google about people and just believe everything that's on the internet, right? So yeah, I said it. It was at the
I said it.
Pakistan World, and I didn't even know what Musharraf was doing. But the company that I was with, who ran Miss Pakistan World, she actually created that news. It was sent to one of the news channels.
She created the news. Okay, you said it.
Or news reporters in Pakistan. And then actually India picked it up and India made it into a huge news. It started with me saying that I liked him. It ended up, oh my God, you want to marry him? So you know how news picks up and stuff. And that's how it got out there. I never even met the guy, but apparently I had an affair with him and whatever. But I was so stupid. I never asked him to, like, you know, sign me up like a couple of properties, like seriously. But so that is
so she's implying that she was involved with him. She's not denying it. She's saying I should have like gotten more out of it. So it's ambiguous. Was she involved with Musharraf or not? Like, were you just like a cheap prostitute for Musharraf or not?
You know what? It got me known all around the world, and here I am today, Mahaleet Sarkari, known. That was how I got famous.
She's proud of it. Like, no self-awareness, no dignity, no.
Right. So Daniel was saying, first I'm going to start with saying Mahaleet Sarkari is not independent. Why are you guys so like angry at independent women? I am independent. I have worked since, like, honestly speaking, I started working when I was 16. When I left Pakistan, I came here, I got a job and I worked at a Burger King. So I don't know if that Burger King was owned by a man or a woman, but there was a lot of women that worked there. Right? I've in my life worked for men and women, but believe me,
this is the life. This is, instead of being like a wife provided for by your husband, you want to go work at Burger King, and that's apparently a very attractive option. Like, what is the calculation here with that these women have? If you don't recognize like what you've lost for your so-called independence, then you're not worthy actually to be a wife, to be protected, to be provided for, to be treated like a queen. You don't deserve that. You're too stupid to understand that the difference between that and being independent at Burger King.
Hi, Malish, for 2 minutes.
I love it. I love it because I know all these men are gonna throw it. I work for myself. I am the boss, so I don't work for a boss, right? So that one's, and I know a lot of women, they work for themselves. They don't work for a boss. It doesn't matter if a boss is a man or a woman. I also know Muhammad worked for Khadija for the longest time. So I mean, like, what are we talking about here, right? Malish doesn't want. It just seems like the society just wants women to be miserable. Society will just get better. Just put all these women under control. That's all. Society is gonna get all better. When women were subjugated at home, used as baby making machines, right? You could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wives. Keep them all, you know, one night with one night with the other one. They're talking about keeping a family. You don't need.
You know who loves babies the most? Women love babies the most. Like in a natural state, the people who love babies the most are women. Men are the one who are saddled with taking care of babies in terms of providing for them. Like, if you have a baby, you have to provide more food. You need more space to house more people in your family. This is a big burden in terms of cost. Of course, we know that Allah provides. Rizq is from Allah, but this is like a huge cost. Women are the ones typically who they love to have children. They love to have babies, the cute little babies that they can play with and that they can dress up and brush their hair and take care of. This is why girls naturally play with dolls, because they love to take care and nurture and nourish. That is something that's natural to females. But it's been so corrupted and so perverted that now you have these shrill feminists who view babies as like a burden, like we're just baby making machines. Like, it's like a complete inversion of what's natural and what's beautiful. That's why feminism is so disgusting. It's like a cancer.
I don't even know anything about starting a family. Do you even know how it feels for a woman to watch her man go to another woman? No, you don't even respect that. And men are doing that. Women are choosing to stay single. Yes, the society is going to collapse. So what should you do? Instead of changing, making yourself better, you want to enslave women. You want to force them to give up their freedom because we want to save society. If that is the case, it's not going to get better. Like I said, it is not for your thing. Like, Islam is growing. You guys are multiplying. Why? Because 4 wives and multiply 4 kids, 4 wives, that's like 16 kids per person, right? Yeah, so the Western countries do have to understand, and the men have to understand that you guys have to do better. And
like, polygyny is, polygyny just makes sure that any children that are born are under care of a wali, under care of a father. But polygyny by itself is not going to increase the number of children that a woman can have. You could have one man, like, just if we reduce all of society to just 10 women, and there's 10 women and there's 10 men. That means perfect monogamy, the 10 men and the 10 women together, and they can have 1 child per year. So that's like about 10 children every 9 months. If you have 5 men and 10 women, so each man has 2 wives, you're still going to only produce 10 children per 9 months. If you have 1 man and 10 women, that's the maximal polygyny scenario. 1 man, he has 10 women. They're still going to only produce 10 children per 9 months. So polygyny by itself is not going to increase the birth rate. What increases or decreases the birth rate is how many children each woman in society is having. Like, do you understand the logic of that? What determines the birth rate is the wombs, the number of wombs, and how often those wombs are giving birth. Is it every 9 months? Is it every year? Is it every 2 years? So that when the birth rate is dropping in society, in these Western societies and increasingly Eastern societies, Muslim countries, the birth rate is dropping. It's because the women are they're not getting married. They're not having enough children. They're not only having under 2.1 children per woman. That's 2.1 is the replacement level for the population. Each woman has to have 2.1 children to keep the population steady. And that's not happening in all of these Western countries, in South Korea, in Japan, increasingly now Muslim countries, Iran. Iran is going to face a demographic collapse. It's a traditional Muslim country, has been, but because of feminism and liberalization and women's education in Iran, they're not at the replacement levels for the birth rate in Iran. Saudi also now is is approaching that replacement level. All of these countries are going to have a birth rate collapse, and there's no way that you can turn that around unless you start telling women, sorry, we're not going to empower you anymore. We're going to start taking away some of this empowerment that we've given you through feminism. You need to start being good wives, good daughters, good wives, and you don't have a choice. That's what needs to happen. We need to start seeing, the kind of MuslimSkeptic approach to gender relations. It's no longer an option. Because when you give women the option, what do they choose? They choose to be on OnlyFans. They choose to be like this woman here in this debate. That's what they choose to do. So you can't give them the option. If that's the only thing that you take from the debate, that's it. Women should not be given the option to choose. Counseling and therapy because they're suffering from psychological problems. They're going to have problems in graduating. They're going to have more problems becoming addicted to drugs and other destructive behaviors. This is the result of single motherhood. It's a disaster for children who are raised without their fathers. But as long as a woman gets to choose how she lives her life, that's the most important thing. Who cares about these kids? Let them be more depressed, more likely to, end themselves. I don't want to use the word for YouTube. End themselves. They're going to be more likely to be homeless. That's fine, as long as I get to choose for myself. Do you not care about children? Do you not care about your own child or the future of your children? You keep saying that you don't want a husband. You don't want. You don't care. I doubt that you're getting proposals. But even if it's true that you're getting proposals, don't you care about your child having a man, a father figure in his life, so that he's going to be more, he or she, I don't know what gender is, your child is going to be more likely to succeed in life? Don't you care? I know that you care. I know that you're a loving mother. So you need to make better choices for his future. Do you think that child is going to be happy about his mom being on OnlyFans? What's going to happen when he grows up and the kids in his class start making fun of him because of that? Don't you care about his future?
Oh, God. It's the same points, Orner. Don't you worry about this. Do you know porn stars kids go up there to school too? Yeah, my child is going to know, and I'm going to tell them, yes, I rip apart Islam. I tell them the reality of Islam on OnlyFans. Go and subscribe so you can learn the truth about Islam. What a fake religion that is, right? So yeah, no, I have no problem with that. Again, where is your thing that, all these single women that are raising kids, where is your stats? And what are you comparing these stats to? Do you have stats from back in the days, 100 years ago? Do you have stats that those kids are better and they were raised better and not? I believe that a child that is being raised in a sane, happy home is better than being in a toxic home. My father was there. The only thing that I remember about him is beating my mother up. That's it. That's all he did. He came home drunk. He was a Muslim, came home drunk and just beat up my mother every single day, almost every single day. We were happy that he died. We were literally happy that he died. So why would I?
This should be doubted, like if this really happened or she just made it up, because you really can't tell with some of these women. It's just like a sob story, a victim story. Probably like it's equally likely that her father was just like a hardworking man and he was trying to make the best out of what little means he could scrape together to provide for an ungrateful wife, ungrateful children, and they made up these lies just to smear him, to justify like turning out the way that they did. It's possible. You can't just take people at their word, especially women's tears. Like, just because women cry doesn't mean that you should trust what they say. Oftentimes they use tears to manipulate you.
I want something toxic in front of my child. Right now, what she has is a loving home. She doesn't have the toxicity of a masculine man that is shoving me around or calling me abusive names in front of her. I do not want that kind of atmosphere for my child. Any kind of toxic environment, I will keep my child away from. Okay, which you're telling me to put my child under there. I need a man. I need a man. Why? No, my priority is my child. And my priority is for her future, working towards her future. That's why I work hard. So she doesn't have to. And she goes and she gets a good education and gets a good job. I'm working towards her future and mine. So, but then again, a man has to come tell me, oh, you've made mistakes. You got to live it this way because our imaginary God told us to. God is also man-made, a man-made God. And then man made all this religion according to him. He can have 4 women every day, a different taste, but I have to like, oh my God, get sealed up. You know what I mean? Like, which God are you talking about?
Islam doesn't give like men, they, Yeah, you can go and have multiple wives, but there's a cost to that. Like, that's a huge cost. Like, you have to pay the mahar, you have to pay the nafaqah, the maintenance, any children that you have to pay for, you have to take care of. That's expensive. That's expensive, and it becomes difficult. Only men who have the means can have multiple wives. And when they have that kind of means and they are that kind of have that kind of wealth, then a lot of women are attracted to men like that, and they pursue men like that. So it's not something that is universal that every man has access to. It's something that is reserved for the men who have enough wealth to be able to spend on other women. So her portraying it like men can just go and sleep around with whoever, that's only a situation or a problem when you have a liberal society with freedom, sexual freedom, that you have the chads, the top 10% of men, the high value men, that they can just use and abuse, pump and dump all of these women one after another. Who's throwing themselves on these men, on these chads? It's all of these 304s. It's all of these prostitutes that are just throwing themselves because it's like playing the lottery. They want to cash in. They think that, oh, if I spend a night with Chad, maybe he's going to fall in love with me. And he's going to put a ring on it. He's going to marry me, and then I'm going to be Mrs. Chad. That's their logic. They're just gambling, and they're gambling with their private parts. This is a terrible decision. This is a terrible approach to trying to find a husband. But this is what they do. Yeah, so I'm sorry that your dad mistreated you and your mom. That's very unfortunate. I feel bad that you experienced that. But, you know, that's just your dad. Like, again, think about beyond your personal experience. You can, I'm citing you statistics. Get out of anecdotal examples and think about the larger statistics. That's what you have to make decisions on. Again, this is a quality of male decision making as opposed to female decision making. Female decision making is anecdotal, how I feel, what I saw in my personal life. Male decision making is on the basis of statistics, on the basis of general trends, on the basis of cause and effect. That's the difference between male decision making and female decision making. And you've proved in this very debate why males need to be guardians over women. But I have a question for you, and I hope you'll answer this. Do you want your daughter to follow in your footsteps and go on to OnlyFans when she grows up?
When my daughter grows up and she's an adult, she can make her own decisions. It doesn't matter what she wants to do. I am not one to control her. She's going to make her own decision. It all depends on how I raise her, that she's smart enough to make smart decisions. That's what I would say.
You'd be happy if she were on OnlyFans?
If she wanted to, yeah. If she wanted to, it's her choice. I'm not going to stop her from doing anything.
Would you prefer that she were an OnlyFans?
How do you know your kid is not going to grow up to be a serial killer?
I don't know that. I don't know that. But I have to make decisions. I have to make decisions. Yeah, I'd be angry, or I'd be upset if my child was growing up to be a serial killer. How is that analogous? You apparently have no problem with your daughter growing up to be a prostitute.
Kid is a serial killer, then what?
I'll be very disappointed. But when I asked you if you'd be disappointed if your daughter was on OnlyFans, you said, no, I'd be happy as long as she makes the decision. Here's another question. Would you be happier if your daughter was on OnlyFans, or she was in a family, had a husband,
What's this obsession? Hey, hang on 1 second. So the whole point that he felt very sorry for my mom, I'll tell you why that was happening. So Surah Nisa, right? Now my dad went to the priest, right? And he's like, you know, she's
the
misbehaving.
Priest. My dad went to the priest. This idiot, like, someone texted her and said, oh, bring up the wife beating verse. So she's like, oh, my abusive dad went to the priest, and my abusive priest, and that priest told my abusive dad, oh, do what it says in Surah An-Nisa. This is what someone texted her, I think. Because just out of the blue, she looks down at her phone, and then she has this line of questioning.
And all this shit. So this is what the Maulvi said. Well, you know, she's your woman. You're the caretaker of her, even though you wasn't taking care. You can beat her up, right? So Surah Nisa, this is Quran 434. It says, men are the caretakers of women. You guys can Google this, is on there. Men are the caretakers of women, as men have been provised by Allah over women and tasked with supporting them financially. And righteous women and devoutly obedient, and when alone protective of what Allah has entrusted them with, of course, they're, you know, what? And if you sense ill conduct from your women, advise them first. If they persist, do not share their bed. If they still persist, discipline them gently. But if they change their ways, do not unjust them. So this is what my father was told by the Maulvi, and then he would come and he would beat my mother up every single day till he died.
Well, what was your mom doing? Was she doing nushuz? She was being disobedient? Because if that's the reason, then what can we say?
So then we got free. And after that, then it was his other family, the other guardians that wanted to take over us and ruin our lives. That's when my mother made the decision to take us and bring us here, which was the best decision of my life, where I can now freely.
See, that's what happens. Okay, let this be a warning for the people in these countries overseas. You come to the West and there's a high chance your daughter or your granddaughter is going to be on OnlyFans. So let this be like a cautionary tale. You don't want your daughters to end up like this. Or these moms that are like, oh, I'm going to divorce my husband because he's not treating me like the queen that I deserve. Is that what you want for your daughter, is to be on OnlyFans? Think very carefully about these decisions, because here is the perfect example of the results of those kinds of decisions.
Live here and provide a good future for my kid. You know, at least, you know what? I don't have problem with her doing OnlyFans. Let me ask you a question. Would you be happy if you were to get your 6-year-old daughter married to a 50-year-old man? Would you be okay with that?
Let me answer my question first, because it's like the go-to, the only thing that they can bring up in debate. This is like a fallacy at this point. Like someone mentioned that every single debate, it's the age of Aisha fallacy. Like any argument, I can't deal with the argument that you present. I have to just bring up the, minor marriage. I have to just bring up minor marriage. That's the only thing that I have as a response. So every single, and they say it as a gotcha, because they've never seen any prior debate that I've had. Like if I'm debating someone, I go to their previous debates and I watch their previous debates to see the way that they argue, the types of things that they bring up, any weaknesses that I see. I do I do research on my debate opponents to make sure I'm not caught off guard and to gain material to use in my debate with them. But they haven't apparently done any research on any of my debates, because if they had watched any of my debates, they would know that every single debate, someone brings up the age of Aisha radiallahu anha and minor marriage, and every single time I say the same thing. Yeah, I have no problem with it. This is great. We need more of this. This is what we need, actually. So they present it as if it's a gotcha moment. Oh my God. Got you now, Daniel. Got you now on this issue. QED, checkmate. Won the debate, dodged it. And my question is, no, you cut me off as I was asking you this question. If your daughter has the choice of being an OnlyFans, for, and maybe it's successful OnlyFans, just like you, on one hand, that's one choice. Or the second option is that she has a male guardian. She has a loving husband that's going to take care of her. They're going to have many children together. They're going to grow old together. Those are the two options. She can have independence and look at it. She has this dead look in her eyes. She has this deep sadness when I mentioned growing old together and a husband. You can see the depression washing over her. Freedom, or she can be happily married under a male guardian. Which one is better in your eyes?
As an adult, again, she is going to be responsible for her own decision. If she finds a man that she wants to be settling down with, that's her decision, and I'm going to support her. If she wants to do OnlyFans as an adult, that's her decision. Now, my question:
what would you advise her? What would you advise her? She's
I
saying,
can advise her whatever.
Mom, I have these two options. I can go into OnlyFans and make a quick buck, or prostitute myself, or I can get married to this man who's going to be my guardian. He's like a traditional Muslim. He's like Daniel Haqiqatjou. He's going to be my male guardian, and I'm going to be happy. Which is the better option? What do you advise me, Mom? I want to choose what you think is best.
I'm going to tell her, find a man that will do OnlyFans with you. That way you guys can, have both do that. Now, back to my
crazy.
question.
So you can't answer. You can't answer. So there you go. That's all you really need to know. So disgusting. I just realized, like, I should have asked her if she was on antidepressants. Maybe that would have been too mean if I was like, what's your dosage of antidepressants that you're taking? I guarantee you that she's on a lot of antidepressants. I guarantee you. If I were gambling, I put a lot of money on that bet. She's popping the pills. Okay, guys, let me look at your super chats and we can wrap this up. Son of Andalus says, I wouldn't even make her my concubine. That's a mean thing to say. Mean but reasonable. Mean but perfectly justified. Do you think because of these treacherous, deviant Madkhali Wahhabis, you might be on some government watch list in Saudi or UAE? 100%, undoubtedly. Undoubtedly, I'm on a watch list. There's not even a doubt about it. Like, you have the government employees of the UAE. Rabbi Ferris is literally a government employee. Like, do you not know this? I'm not exaggerating when I say it. It's not like a false claim that I'm making or just a guess that Rabbi Ferris is an agent of the UAE government. He literally is an employee on the payroll of the UAE government, and he has dedicated a large amount of his dawah to specifically attacking me by name. So that in and of itself means that I'm on a watch list. I'm on not a watch list, I'm on a hit list. I'm on a hit list in Saudi and UAE. And Shamsi is another one. Shamsi is employed, or he is connected to his teacher, Abu Khadija, who is employed by the Saudi government. Both Abu Khadija and Shamsi have hit specifically to discredit me, to attack me, to call me a deviant, to call me XYZ. I'm not on a watch list, I'm on a hit list. What would happen if you went for Hajj or Umrah? Have you ever been? Good to see you, brother, in the chat. I really like your comments, mashallah, on YouTube and Twitter. I haven't gone for Umrah or Hajj, but obviously I can't go until Allah changes the situation. It's not safe for me to go to Hajj or Umrah because of being on this kind of hit list. That's the answer. But people get concerned and they get sad for me. And I tell them that, look, the Baytullah is in the hands of Allah, and Allah invites whoever that He wants to His house. And if Allah invites you to His house, there's no one in the world, there's no power in the world that can stop you if Allah is inviting you to His house. So let's look at, the deeper realities. Any clip or part of the debate that you wanted me to address, or any questions that you wanted me to address that I didn't address? Random question, Brother Daniel. Do you prefer Mac or Windows? Someone's like, don't answer the Mossad. I'm not going to tell you my operating system. They're both good. They both have positives and negatives. Today was an easy win. Mashallah, thank you, Muslim Boogeyman. Do you think if you had a daughter, you would have the same view? Obviously, of course. Can you review the research? What exactly do you want me to review? There's like a ton of research that I cited. How many women are antidepressants because of wanting to be boss babes, not raise a family? It's like 50%. I think it's more than 50% at this point. Maybe like even 2/3. The last statistic that I heard is that 50% of adult women are on antidepressants. I think it's more than that. And Muslim women as well. They're all on antidepressants, a large percentage. Why? Because the modern world, feminism, the modern world created by feminism has destroyed what is naturally enjoyable for a woman, which is having children, taking care of children, tending after children, cooking and cleaning for a husband, being submissive and agreeable to a husband who is the guardian. These are the things that actually women have been programmed and created by Allah to enjoy and to thrive in those kinds of conditions. Feminism has taught women to rebel against this, and there's a psychological reaction when you are, just like if you put a tiger or a polar bear in a cage, the tiger or the polar bear, they get depressed because they're not meant to be in a small cage, in a small enclosure. They're meant to roam. They're meant to move around. Well, women have been created to actually be in a cage, essentially, to be in the cage of the male guardian, to be protected by the male guardian. That's how Allah has created them. So now when they roam and they go out, then they're going to be depressed because that's contrary to their nature. In the same way that if you take something, that a creature that has been created to roam, and you cage it up, it's going to be depressed because it's contrary to what it's been created to do. So that's why that antidepressant usage is off the charts. And all of the women that I've debated, so far I've debated 3 South Asian women. They just happen coincidentally to be South Asians. I think that all of them were on antidepressants and still are probably. And again, if I were a gambling man, I would put money, like a lot of money, on that. Thoughts on birth control pills. Do not use birth control. Do not use birth control. Do not allow your wife to use birth control. It is dangerous. There is a much higher rate of cancer, breast cancer, ovarian cancer, that comes with using birth control pills. Do not use birth control pills. Please, I'm begging you. As someone who has had a lot of cancer in my extended family from women, don't use birth control. You don't want to go through that pain. Specifically pills. I mean, there's other ways to, there's other birth control that can be used. That's halal. But pills specifically, the birth control pill, do not use that. You are endangering the health of your wife if she's using birth control pills. Yeah, and it has major psychological effects too. Like depression is one of the side effects. Mufti Cheesecake, good to see you, bro. OnlyFans auntie made a good argument against marriage every time she opened her mouth. True. No, birth control is halal. Birth control in general is halal. I'm specifically talking about pills that you have to take. You have to ingest the pill. For women, that is what has a lot of bad effects. Cancer being one of them. It disrupts the hormonal system of women. So when the hormones of women are disrupted to that extent, it has all kinds of bad consequences in terms of their mood, in terms of their energy levels, on and on. Do not use birth control pills. Now, people say that Daniel doesn't care about women. Yeah, I do. Here I am telling you about, because birth control pills, ostensibly, that's something good for the man. Like, that's something that benefits the man if she takes the birth control pill. So if I really were this misogynist who hated women and only cared about the pleasure and comfort of men, so yeah, put her on birth control, no problem. No, but I care about women. I'm looking out for our Muslim sisters when I say don't use birth control pills. Thoughts on Apus's face? What happened with his face? He has a new face? Did he get like plastic surgery or something? Don't know what that's referring to. All right, guys. Some of the comments are not as relevant. Did you already mention that Malij isn't against walis but wants to be the wali? Yeah, I did address that. She wants to be the guardian of her daughter. I addressed that contradiction in the debate. Okay. Thank you all for joining the post-debate analysis. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed it. I enjoyed the debate. And I'll see you, inshallah, on more live streams. There are other debates in the works. It's hard to find people who are agreed to debate at this point. Like, I challenge people, but they won't step up. It's like you become a victim of your own success, in a sense. But it's very hard for me to get good debate opponents on interesting subjects. Like, I don't like to do a debate on something that I've already debated before. It just is boring. I like new topics. You know, how many debates can you do on the Trinity? And this is all that these Christians want to debate over and over again. It's like they find out some kind of new way. Oh, maybe if we talk about the Trinity like it's the sun. The Trinity is like the sun in the sky. Or the Trinity is like water. Or like, oh, this is... the Muslims are going to completely be thrown off by this argument. It's like, okay, whatever. It's like just... That's boring to me. If there's something new, different. So hopefully we'll have some good debates coming up throughout the summer, inshallah. I'm trying to organize them. Okay, guys. I will catch you on the next live stream. We're going to have Haqiqatjou later this week to talk about the whole situation with Israel and Iran. But until then, I will see you next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.